I hope you experience in reading the book, even if you had a little chance, is that I point to some of the what I'll call the gaps, or the unnarrated moments in the Christian text, turning to figures like Mary Magdalene, who comes to the tomb, right? It's still, the biblical text says it's still dark and she can barely see, and she's weeping. Now, I don't know about you, but when I weep, I can't see very clearly, right? So her vision is not clear, and she comes to the tomb and she's not sure what she's seeing. And I imagine she's very distressed. Anyone else imagine the level of loss? And you also have there other figures like the beloved disciple, who always is like second fiddle to Peter, right? You have these moments in which there are figures in the biblical text that are experiencing the challenge of witnessing to life emerging out of the chaos of death. And when I'm hearing about traumatic experiences, I'm hearing about how difficult it is to come into a new way of life after one has experienced loss and death. And when I turn to the biblical witness, I was really interested in like, do we understand the witness that we provide in our Christian life as this really challenging accompaniment and what I call thick witness to the deaths that people experience? And I brought all those challenging questions of trauma to my Bible, right? I was like, okay, I heard about death and I heard about, Jesus resurrected, but I didn't hear about this struggle in between. And for me, that was a real unfortunate loss, because a lot of people live in Holy Saturday. That was my takeaway. A lot of what I heard from trauma was people aren't getting over it. They're not getting better. They're struggling. And it often means 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It often means a process. It often isn't shiny and new. But our Easter messages are often experienced as new life, triumphant, redemption has happened. And I was really, really concerned that what many people experience is being kind of glided over by our Christian story. I don't know if that's a great way to say it. But the term I use a lot is it just elided. Like, people are experiencing things, but Easter Sunday is around the corner. And I went back to the biblical and theological tradition, and I really see a testimony. It's an important word for me. I see a witness or testimony to something more complicated, that can meet our stories, the stories of our lives in a different way.